Hello, how's it going, everybody? It's me, it's Comic Crack, and it is Monday, not Sunday. Let's make sure that yes, I am. Welcome. Didn't get around to anything this weekend. We had some visitors, some family come in to visit the weekend, so we were doing other things. So no chat this Sunday. Last Sunday, rather. I'm hoping this Sunday, Rasa and I can get together. We'll see how it goes. The weekend might be a little busy, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to kind of chat. I haven't read a lot this week off the top of the week. Got a small stack to talk about from last week. Got a couple of things I want to show you. I got a special care package in the mail that I wanted to share with you as well. Let's start off with... picked up the next in Blom. Book number 4 is what I've got here. I haven't started it yet. I've just kind of done a quick flip through it. I'm looking forward to getting into this one. I'm going to try to read this week. So I think I only need 2 more volumes of this. You've heard me talk about it before. I'm looking forward to reading some more of this just kind of insane series. It kind of gets a little crazier every time I read a new volume. I've been listening to a couple of podcasts and interviews. I ordered a book, which I'll talk about when it gets here. But I did a late night shop one night, and through Chapters Indigo, I ordered this. It just came in today. So the good thing about ordering from Chapters Indigo is you can order online and they'll ship straight to your store, so it doesn't cost you any shipping. This is one I was interested in. I started reading this already today. I'm about just 20 pages into it, did a flip through it. I don't know how it's going to be. It seems pretty rudimentary to some degree. It's not going to go into any great detail about stuff. So the whole book is about kind of extreme musics of all kinds. Everything from noise to drone and new age and ambient to kind of grindcore to electronic music. It talks about, there's a chapter on extreme durations. There's a chapter on extreme records, stuff that's unplayable, technology quirks. So kind of like outdated technology, people recording on a microcassettes, 8 tracks, etc. Elaborate packaging, digital music, and then recordings. There's some interesting interviews in here. I think he talks to Ron Lessard from Triple R, or from Triple R Records, which will be kind of fun. He talks to the Haters as well, to GX Jupiter Larson, I believe is his name. Hanson Records, they do a little focus on as well. So it might be kind of cool. Like I said, I just feel like it's not going to be an in-depth kind of text on stuff. So we'll see kind of how it is. It wasn't very expensive. We get some glossy photos in the middle of the book as well too. So we'll see how this reads. Yeah. It definitely was one of those late night orders where I kind of didn't give it too much thought. I just pushed click and bought it and added it to the cart, which isn't always the best thing. So the other package that I'll show you here is stuff that I got from Living the Line. So shout out to Living the Line. Quite a while ago, they had a little bit of a contest for their 5,000 subscribers, I think is what it was. And it was kind of promoting them on some sort of social media. So I did a YouTube video on it, and I think a bunch of you have seen that. So they were kind enough to draw my name out of a hat and send me a box of stuff, which is pretty great. It came last week already, early last week. I just haven't had a chance to kind of sit and talk about it. So I'll just kind of quickly show you the stuff that's in it. If you don't know Living the Line, they've done a bunch of amazing books. They've got some new stuff coming out. I'm still waiting for Her Frankenstein to come in at my bookstore. Sorry, the Ethernet unplugged there. But that's taking a bit of time. There seems to be a lot of delays. I'm still waiting for Kamui to come into the comic shop. So I think there's just delays across the board with all sorts of things coming up to Canada here. So Okay, so one of the books that they did, unfortunately, they only sent me one of them. I mean, thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much. I really do honestly appreciate it. I kind of wish they would have sent the whole series. I'm really curious about this one. This is one that didn't show up in our shops here. So I saw them talk about it online, and I think I've seen a couple of other people talk about it on YouTube as well. But this is kind of like it's talked about. Everybody loves being the first. So this apparently is the first AI created comic that then they kind of curated. I don't know if it was the same with the text. I think they might have done the text themselves based on the images that they were creating. So I'm not fully aware of the entire story behind this comic, but I'm very curious about it to see what it will be like. AI stuff is really, really hit and miss, especially when it comes to kind of books. It's an idea that kind of has a chance to wear itself thin pretty quickly. I will say though that even just looking through this, it looks very interesting. I'm very curious to see what this is about. I'm just a little bit hesitant. Not that I'm against AI, not at all. I happen to really enjoy a lot of AI. That has nothing to do with it. I just don't know how rewarding something like this will end up being, but I could be totally fucking wrong. Amazing thing that they sent me. So I've got a hardcover version of The Exile, but now I've got a soft cover version as well too. So great book. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm thinking that Colin's video talking about previews, the latest issue of previews, I think that there was another book coming from Eric Creek. I don't think it was another Living the Line book. I can't remember the title of it. If Colin is watching this at a later date, I'm sure he'll pop something in the comments for us as well. But I think this is his third book that's been translated to English. I don't know if the new book was created specifically for the English market, like if it was a new release or if it was just a English translation of some previous work. But this is a great book. I've talked about it here before on the channel when I first read it. So very, very cool to have a soft cover version of that. Let's put those there. They also threw in a Living the Line, The Exile sampler, which is really great because I think it has some other stuff in here as well. So most of it is The Exile. There's also a little passage from this Centralia book. And then they also have a sample from Plaza in here, I believe. Yes, right at the back. So a brief kind of ad for Plaza. And then also an ad for Strange Death of Alex Raymond. So that's very, very cool to have kind of like this one-shot sampler from. So thank you very much for that. And the rest of the stuff that's in here is interesting to say the least. Oh, I'll show you this as well too. One of the reasons why I was hopeful that maybe I'd get the entire The Abolition of Man series is because they sent me the hardcover jacket if I wanted to do my own version of it, which is incredibly cool. I love the idea of kind of putting together my own hardcover collection of it. I've done it in the past quite a long time ago. Don't know if that book is around. It's a fucking nightmare of a book. It didn't work out like I thought whatsoever. I don't see it around here. I thought it was up on this shelf. One more quick look before I abandon the mission. Yeah, no, I don't see it. But anyway, I did try a version myself, and it really didn't work out like I had envisioned it in my head. But it was a real fun project to do. So I'd love to kind of try that again now that I have a really nice hardcover jacket for the whole thing. So I may have to order the rest of the issues and put that together. So they then sent me a bunch of other stuff. like Moonray, but just the individual signatures, which is kind of interesting. I didn't really know that this was going to happen. So they sent me again the soft cover dust jacket, and then I've got all the signatures for the book. So I guess I can fashion my own copy of Moonray, which is kind of cool. I'll be interested to see if I can pull something like that off. So they did a good job of kind of just packing everything together, but that might be kind of neat. The Pit hardcover, New Creek book. Thank you very much, Eliza. Nice to see you. So Moonray there. And then they did the same for a couple of other books. Let me see if I can deal with this in here. Looks like there's more Abolition of Man in here. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to sit and have a really good look at all of this stuff. Let's see if I can separate this. So this is a bunch of the Abolition of Man that hasn't been cut yet. So that's, I don't know if that's the whole book. I'll have to take a close look. They did the same for, send me the signatures for the Exile as well too. Again, I don't know if this is all of the signatures for it, but a good chunk of them. And they also sent along, I think this is from Her Frankenstein, is I believe what some of this is for. So a couple of pieces from Her Frankenstein, including some smaller pages in a bag here. Again, haven't really gone through that. What else is in here? I think that was it. And then some big pages from some Brandon Graham stuff as well too. So just some sheets from that. So very, very cool. Very nice of them. I really appreciate it. It's always a joy to get some stuff in the mail, as we know. But this was kind of a nice surprise to have some of this. Let me put this back in so it doesn't get destroyed here. I think that goes there. There we go. So shout out to Living the Line. If you don't know Living the Line, check out their channel, check out their books. Really, really cool. I got the Abolition of Man books. It came out before the AI stuff was getting murdered online. Unfortunately, it's also not that good. Yeah, that's kind of what my worry is. Again, like I'm not opposed to AI by any stretch. But yeah, it is really difficult, I think, to kind of pull off something that's like a little more long form. So yeah, there we go. So that's kind of what's come in the mail. We'll talk about what I read this week. I feel like this will be another faster video. This was such a great surprise. This was Creature Features. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I found it in a 50-cent bin. This is from 90-something, 91 possibly. Something like that. 1994 from a company called Mojo Press. And it was exactly what I was hoping it was going to be. Just a very fun, ridiculous sort of indie horror anthology with a number of different artists in here. The big name in this one, though, is Lansdale, right? Didn't Lansdale do? Joe Lansdale did the second story, The Grease Trap. He just wrote it. And just a blast. There's a couple of stories that aren't the best, but honestly, this was fun. It's no Vacuum Decay, but it's a pretty great little horror anthology for 50 cents. It's beaten to shit, but was kind of great because of the different styles and the very, very 80s indie look to everything there. So there's the third story here. So not much to say about it. Don't if you do see it in the bins, don't hesitate to pick it up. We also get a pretty killer back cover there too. So yeah, so there you go. So that's Creature Features. What else did I read? These ones I won't talk about too much because I'll probably wait and talk about them with Rasa. Issue 14 of The Sacrificers came out. I thought this was a really great issue. This is another one of those books that's really had a bit of a dip for me, but I really dug this issue. It feels like we're kind of getting back on track for the next kind of Remender slap you across the face moment. So that was a pretty fun issue. It's time for our one shot of Kaya. This is actually the new issue. I did buy doubles of that 24. But this one was a standalone, and I honestly don't remember too much of it. Oh yeah, this birth of this dragon. So I think we're going back into the kind of the history of the Kaya universe. I liked it as well. I find that sometimes with Kaya, though, it is one of those reads where it's a little bit like a roller coaster. You sort of blast your way through the issue, and then before you know it, it's done. Now, the backup story is what I want to talk about here. Jesse Lonergan does the backup story in this issue, and it's really, really great. So Jesse, well, maybe not known, but plays around with page layouts and things, and he does the same in this one. I love the kind of conceit of this one here, this maze that Kaya is running through as she's getting chased by a giant monster. And as the story goes, I won't show you every page, but as the story goes, there's more interaction with the panels and the page layout there. So that was a real nice surprise. So the latest issue of Kaya. Haven't read my copy of Her Frankenstein or that mushroom horror book from Living the Line, but they look great. The UFO mushrooms, I did read it. I enjoyed it, actually. There was some really good moments in it. I don't have that Her Frankenstein yet. I don't know if you've caught it from the beginning here, Chris, but I'm still waiting for that to come in the mail. I had ordered it through our local bookstore, actually, because I couldn't find it through League of Comic Geeks, I don't think, at the time, which is what I use for my pull list and to add stuff at my comic shop. So I didn't find it through there. So I'm still waiting for it, but they have another one coming out as well, too, another in that manga line. And again, I'm live, so I don't remember titles of everything. What else did we read this week? Another one I want to wait to talk to Rasa about as well. Another Remender book called The Seasons. I don't know what I thought of this one. I guess I sort of like the premise of introducing us to this world. It's the main character's kind of chasing this letter throughout the whole story. This one didn't grab me. Mansect. Yeah, thank you very much. That's the one, Mansect. It didn't really grab me as much as I thought it would. It wasn't necessarily a bad issue, but I don't know what to think about this one. We'll see what issue number 2 brings us. You got to read Reed Fleming. 3 and number 4. I talked about these before. I'll just quickly show you one of them. I've talked about Reed Fleming a million times, so again, we won't talk about it too much. The one thing I will focus on with this, if you do find this deep sea comic stuff, even if you have read the Reed Fleming single issues before that like Eclipse was putting out, pick these deep sea comics up anyway. Yes, most of it is the same, but what you do get at the back is you get some bonus strips. This stuff is from the Georgia Straight from 1970 something or other, I want to say. 1974, 1975 is when he worked. 1976, I think, is when like a strip like this came out. So really, really worth it to pick this stuff up just for this back matter. You do get some nice text at the bottom too, where he kind of gives you a little bit of the history. I don't know. There was a big hardcover of Reed Fleming stuff that came out a number of years ago, that big yellow book. I don't know if all that bonus material made it into that edition, but I'm guessing that it did. But if it didn't, you can get these Deep Sea comics. Pretty sure that Deep Sea Comics has a website you can order directly from. So that's a few of them that I have now from Deep Sea, which is always such a great treat. One of my all-time favorite comics, one of the comic guys here in town, whose store closed. He said that when he first kind of took over the shop, they told him, you can have a comic shop, but you have to order Reed Fleming. You have to have that in your store. So, yeah, the Milkman Union coming down hard on the local comic industry. No Such Thing as Monsters, issue number 1 from the golden era, 1986. This is pretty wild. I did a little digging online. I contacted the guy who I thought might be the artist from this. I haven't heard back from him yet. Actually, let's do this live. I think I tried to reach out to him about a week ago. I don't know 100% that it's him. Stephen Holman is his name. Yeah, it just says it's still just delivered. He hasn't even read it yet. So sometimes there's been there's been a couple of times where I've tried to reach out to older comic creators from kind of the 80s and things. And while some of them do have Facebook pages, they don't check them too much, and they definitely don't check their Facebook Messenger because they go unread and unanswered. So if it is him, though, the guy that I found on Facebook, he also worked on Pee-wee's Playhouse, and the timeline and everything works out for this book that he would have done this in 86 and kind of had a little bit of an art career, and his career has developed since then. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure that it's the actual guy, but I'm hoping that by some stroke of luck, he does reach out at some point, because I'd love to find out a little bit more about him, see if he has any pages from this era of his career left. It's not a book to go out of your way to hunt down by any stretch, but it is pretty fun. And when it comes to kind of the history of comics, especially 1986, this is one you've got to have just to get a taste of what things were like. And then the other great thing about it was Alien Comic at Chandelier, the video, on sale now. This fucking guy is still on YouTube. You can still find videos of this guy. I haven't tried to reach out to him yet, but he's still, or he was at least around a number of years ago, putting stuff up on YouTube. So that was pretty great to kind of dig that up from digging through these comics. It's part of what's so much fun about this era, finding these oddball titles and then just kind of doing the very basic bit of research online to see if you can find any info on these guys. Most of the time you come up to a dead end because they've done 1 or 2 comics and then never looked back ever again, as they lost their shirt or lost their parents' money on printing up 1,000 copies, thinking they were going to be the next Ninja Turtles, possibly. But yeah, so it's a pretty fun little series. Kind of sits in a weird spot of like YA mixed with punk rock. It's an oddball one, that's for sure. So very unique. I've got a number of them. I don't have the whole series yet, but I think I've got about 4 of the issues possibly. So that's absolutely one to keep your eyes out for, but don't pay very much money if you do see it. Don't be spending no $5 or anything crazy like that. And then last but unfortunately least, we're not ending on a strong one this time. I had high hopes for this one, and things don't always pan out. So this is Terminal Point from Dark Horse from the year of our Lord, 1993. There's some really promising and amazing art in this one, but the story was so kind of dull, and it just started to reek kind of like a TV kind of drama. And it wasn't appealing story. It was a bit of a slog, honestly. It's only a 3-issue miniseries. It was a bit of a slog by the time I got to the end, but you do get some pretty amazing images like this. He's got this really crazy tech kind of space motorcycle thing So basically, they're these terminal points are these pods that they set up through time and other dimensions, but specifically in places in time. And these guys are sort of hybrids of, I don't think they're quite fully android, but they're not fully human either. And they're really sent out to plant these devices so back in their time they can have full control. Their masters, I guess, can have full control of space and time. And at the beginning, they really just talk like they're soldiers knee deep in battle. There's a real sort of rhythm to the dialogue early on. And of course, one of our guys goes to a time, falls in love with a dame, and has to fight her science-y boyfriend. I think they go back to the 40s, I think is where this is supposed to be taking place. 30s or 40s, I don't remember. But like I said, it's stuff like this that you're reading the book for. But honestly, even in a 50-cent bin, unless these images really, really appeal to you, you can give this one a pass if you stumble across this one. So that's issue 1. That's issue 2. And then issue 3. It's just always incredible to me that Dark Horse, after all of this time, yeah, it does look good for 50 cents. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. After all of this time, you can still dig up stuff from the Dark Horse back catalog that somehow has just gone forgotten. Sometimes those books that are forgotten are it's a shame that they have been forgotten. What was it? Chartwell Manor, I think was that one called. That one was really great. But something like Terminal Point, I can see why it's lost to the annals of history. I think that is it. I didn't read any of that shit. Yeah, I haven't done a ton of reading this week yet, so we'll see what we get to. I think that's about it. A solid 27 minutes. Thanks very much for hanging out. I'm hoping that this week brings, I think the new Corbin book is out this week, I believe. And I'm really, really hoping that The Legend of Kamui has finally come in at my comic shop this week. I'm dying to read that book. I can't wait to dig into that entire series. Like I said, my most anticipated read of the year for sure. But the next Corbin book is the final chapter of Den. The one after that is where we get Dimwood finally, which is the unreleased graphic novel. The one after that is Rolf. No, not just solicited. There's one that's just been solicited. It's Rolf and Other Stories. I don't know if the Rolf book is going to be this one here. Rolf and some underground stuff. I don't know exactly what's going to be in it, but the Den book 5 is out this week. Then we have to wait for Dimwood. I don't remember when that was solicited for, what month that was coming out. That's a couple of months from now. But they're keeping up a pretty good pace now with these Dark Horse Corbin library books, which is really great to see. I'm glad that they haven't really dropped the ball too bad yet. I was thinking they'd get to a certain point and it would just completely drop off. But the solicits keep coming and these books keep coming out. So that's positive. So, yeah, right on, everybody. Thanks very much for hanging out. Eliza, Chris, good to see you, and the others that were lurking. We'll talk to you next week. Later.